Hi everybody, it's Tim Hagen from Progress Coaching. And I thought long and hard about doing this video and should I put it out there? Will it rub people the wrong way? Is it going to come off insensitive? Is it going to be contrary to what we preach in terms of the value of coaching in the workplace? And I want to start with a t-shirt I'm wearing called Coaching Tough. It's an acronym for tenacious, outstanding, understanding, giving, and helpful. So every single week, at our company, we have to depict two things we've done that represented one of the letters of tough. And tough is an acronym, but yet when we think of tough, we think about grinding, getting through tough times, working hard. And I'm really proud of what our company's done, what our people have done, how we've come through a very difficult time. And I think about what's going on in the workplace. Now, this is a gross generalization. I'm going to take some things out of context. I might even be making some wild assumptions. We spend a lot of time talking about empathy, consideration, thoughtfulness for our employees, and we should. Mental health is a huge issue. So before I make the following statement, let me share with you that I would say 3-4 years ago, right before I got certified in emotional intelligence from a great instructor, Ed Hennessy, from MHS, I didn't have a lot of empathy. It's not something I practice. Quite frankly, it's not something I ever really thought about. I always was frustrated with employees. It's like, why don't you just work hard? Just be quiet and do your job. And once I went through my emotional intelligence training, I realized where I was flawed. So I started to become more conscientious of how people were feeling. And not only internally, but certainly externally. And I think about what we need to do in the workplace today. Now, again, mental health, stress, anxiety, time to reflect, time to think. I am 100% for those things. Yet I think we have to be careful as leaders that we don't lose sight of something. And that is a good day's work. Now, isn't that corny and trite and a little bit theatrical? But so often I hear people, we got to be really concerned about our people. We got to really be considerate of what they're going through. And we do. And I'm inside companies. I talk to employees. It's amazing to me how some people, one, don't appreciate what their companies are doing for them. Two, don't realize their role and responsibility. I'll give you an example. We were talking to an employee of one of our customers, and we were talking about sending out thank you cards. It's a financial services firm, and we're using customer service data to drive coaching initiatives. And this person said, I just don't have time. I said, really? She said, yeah, why? I said, you don't have time for 60 to 90 seconds to say to a customer, thank you. She said, no, I really don't. I said, awesome. I wouldn't either. Don't send it. And she looked at me puzzled. We were doing a Zoom call. I said, think about what you just said. Now, what if your competition is sending cards religiously? Wouldn't the customer look at them more favorably? She said, well, yeah. And I said, so then let's say we have a downtick in sales and it hits you. Would you be upset if you were laid off? And I get this look of complete terror and anger. I said, no, seriously. I said, you're not at risk, but think about what you just said. You are not willing to take 60 to 90 seconds. Now, is that applicable to all of you? No, I get it. Yet at the same time, we have this stress, we have this anxiety, we have this mental health issues over here. And I get it. People are burnt out from working at home. I get it. I am encouraging all of us to talk about how do we put in a good day's work. Let me share with you something that we do at our company. Doesn't mean it's what you should do. We've already taken 3 Friday afternoons off this year, the whole company. Take the weekend, get a head start, relax, come back Monday, and let's get after it. And you can just feel people go, thanks a lot. And all of a sudden they come back and they kick butt. We have to find a balance. But we have to help people become tough. This is always going to be over there. There's going to be anxiety. There's going to be stress. There's going to be times where you need to relax. There's going to be times where you're going to feel like I've got time to do 3 things, but my desk has got 10 things. That's always going to be there. Can you successfully get through it? Not grinding, but can you get through it with a positive and thoughtful and professional disposition? Did you put in a good day's work? So, something that was really interesting. My daughter, who goes to the University of Ithaca as a journalism major, took a job this summer, and she was getting up at 6 in the morning, starting the shift, working all day. She was unloading trucks, and I would have these conversations with her, and the company that she was working for, that she actually transferred to out in Ithaca, they thought so much of her, they asked her to go into management. She's only 20, 21 years old. And I said, so what did you learn? And she said, oh, this is really hard. So then when she got her first check, and she and I differ a lot on issues out in the world, there were a lot of taxes taken out. And they just praised her. Her 2 supervisors had tears her last day of work. And I said, you know, Bridget, here's the funniest thing. You know what differentiated you, sadly? She said, what? Your ability to show up on time and do a good day's work. She said, really? And I said, yeah, it's not everybody. But if you show up early and you show up on time and you bust your butt, you will always differentiate yourself. Now, this might come off very jaded. This might even come off a little bit cynical, this video post. Yet, I think we have to be conscientious that when we go through tough times, we need to be tough. When we go through tough times, we've got to overcome. We can't swing the pendulum so far from one side to the other that we are only concerned about employees and their happiness. I know that sounds very oxymoronic for coming from a guy who teaches coaching. People have to realize, employees, and I would encourage you to start an employee movement. We do it with our clients. Start an employee movement. Educate them on profitability. Educate them on the financial status of the company. And to show you that I practice what I preach, we literally share with our people cash in the bank. Where's our credit line, which is a 0 balance? What debt do we have? We have none. Now, nobody cared about that before the pandemic. I guarantee you. Boy, are they appreciative I report it now. And I've always practiced that. And I got that from the first customer that I ever had by the name of John Howman at a company called Allied Computer Group. He always published the company financials on a daily basis. And I always wondered why. He said, as long as you're transparent about where the company's at, they can never complain about change later on. And I've always loved that. So teach your people, what is profitability? How do you impact it? The perception you have, the relationships you have, the communication you have inside your company, and especially those who are directly communicating with customers, have an impact on the top line and the bottom line. It's all about job security. And I'll share this with you as a closing comment. We were talking at one of our manufacturing clients right around the time of the start of the pandemic, and we were going through a bunch of change. And I remember a supervisor of the plant floor was talking about pay, and I said, "Where do you think pay comes from?" I'll never forget this as long as I live, and it's actually the second person who's answered this way. She said, "What do you mean?" I said, "Where do you think the money comes from?" "A printer?" I said, "Okay, yeah, it's printed, but where does that cash come from?" "Well, it's not cash." I said, "Oh, yes, it is. It's cash." And she just sat there puzzled. And I said, it's money coming in versus money going out. If money goes out, supersedes or is above what comes in, you're in trouble. Are you aware of the financial status of the company? And the company was doing well. She said, "No." I said, "Do you think you impact that?" She said, "Yeah, a little bit." I said, "Oh, no, a lot." I said, the supervisor had actually just made a big mistake on the shop floor, and it cost the company, they had to rerun some of their packaging goods, and it cost the company a lot of money. And I said, "So you complain about pay, right? You always talk about how you should be paid more. So who paid for that?" And she looked at me just stunned, like, "How dare you?" And I said, "Think about it. You have the ability to impact the bottom line and the top line. You have that ability. So my question to you is, who paid for that mistake? The company did. You didn't personally pay for it. Yet you're not understanding how your work impacts the bottom line. So my advice is be empathetic, show sensitivity, be caring, provide mental health breaks, give people time to reflect. I'm all for it. But challenge people to be tough. Challenge them to overcome. Challenge them to grind through the tough times because we as companies need it. I hope this was helpful. Let me know your thoughts.